6 months, semen retention. Right out. I forgot to mention in the other at 90 days, anxiety and insomnia. This is a big one for people, actually, and also the polar opposite, which is depression. You see, it can go either way. It depends on your constitution, which you're prone to, what your weaknesses are in your emotional body, what your karma is, etc. If you're going to be more prone to depression, or the opposite end of the coin, which is the opposite side of the coin, which is anxiety, restlessness, insomnia. So that can start happening. I mean, that can happen the whole time. That can even happen like after a year, actually. I made a video on post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Pause. You can check that out if you haven't seen it, if you're interested. Anyway, see, for me and for some others, I see the anxiety, and see, it depends how long you've been doing this, how deeply embedded in your psyche is this PMO addiction. Depends. All these things depend. So some people have really bad anxiety and insomnia like the first 30 days. I would say, generally speaking, more start to feel that around the 90-day mark, because the body's reset now. Remember, it went through the cycle, and so it's like the body in your mind now, it's caught up to the fact like that you're not losing your semen. See, before it was like kind of shocked. It's like maybe the body mind didn't don't believe what you're doing. It's like, nah, he's gonna beat off soon, but then you don't, and then this real adjustment starts to happen. It takes some time. This planet, this physical world's very slow with how things move and everything. So yeah, generally speaking, the anxiety and insomnia can start, or depression can be around 90 days, but I've found it can get worse around 6 months. It may not. I don't know the percent. Maybe 50% of the people it's worse for 90 days, 50% worse for 6 months. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So if you're feeling, know that that's normal. If you're feeling anxiety, restlessness, you can't sleep, or depression, and you're like, man, I've been feeling this for weeks, months, you're healing yourself. What can I say? Don't go to the doctor and tell them that you're scared, because they're going to give you something. They're going to give you a pill, another thing to take, and that's going to block this process of withdrawal and detox. Now, disclaimer, if you really need something, if you're going crazy, if you're going to hurt yourself or someone else, you got to do what you got to do. You see, I'm not dogmatic about anything. I'm not fixed in one position, like this is absolute. No, everything's good. God's running the whole show anyway. This is the thing, not us, not me or you or anything. But it appears like we're doing something. We're in this virtual reality game, no different than the video game you play. Well, we're in a video game too, and we're playing. I'm getting into my spiritual channel now. You can see it if you want, Spiritual Renaissance. And if you do have some mental health imbalances, you can see my other channel, True Health. I think it's in the description box. And I talk about mental health imbalances. So that was my discovery. The anxiety and the insomnia. I didn't really struggle with the depression. Some do. I feel like anxiety and insomnia is worse still. At least depressed, you can just chill. At least you can sleep. Now, I'm not saying one's better. They both suck, but I had this anxiety and restlessness for well over a year. I just did, because of edging. See, when I stopped releasing my seed in my early 20s, I became an edging addict, and I edged. And see, that will destroy your mind also after a period of time. If you do a little something, okay. I mean, you can't be, if you're looking for a girl and you're in your 20s or 30s, like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't, you're going to be thinking about girls and maybe lusting a little bit, okay. But I'm talking about hardcore edging. I'm talking about like stimulating yourself, getting to the peak, stopping, locking it, circulate it through your body. This is the trap with Taoist practices. I've shared before on the video. It turns a lot of people into an addict even more. Because see, the mind's looking for a way out. It's looking for a loophole. It's like, okay, I'm not doing PMO now. I'm not releasing my seed, but I still need a fix. It's like I need a fix. Hence, edging's born. That's what happened to me. I still needed an escape route. I'm like, what can I do? I can't handle these inner turmoil and feelings and everything. And because I was living an imbalanced lifestyle. This is why I preach, you got to balance your life. It all goes together. If I just stop PMO, but yet I'm still, there's so many addictions we can get caught up in. If I'm still, there's so many, whatever, overeating or I'm like in situations that I know I shouldn't be in, but I'm there because I want a dopamine hit, clubbing or going to parties or, drinking too much, smoking too much weed, whatever. If I'm still doing that, then it's like I'm still that's creating inner stress. So I'm gonna need an escape route. Well, if I'm not doing PMO anymore, I got to find another escape route to escape myself from the consequences that I created, these emotional consequences from living a lifestyle that's not harmonious. So then we find edging. So the reason I'm talking about edging is because at 6 months, if you haven't lost your semen, your tendency to edge and lust is going to be stronger because this addiction's looking for a way to express itself. It hasn't been, the seeds of this addiction haven't been roasted yet because it takes time. So the edging can get worse. So just be aware and look at my edging playlist if you're not aware of what edging is. I take edging to another level. I'm not talking about just, most people think edging, and this used to be my definition back in the day, that edging, you stimulate yourself, you get to the peak, and you don't ejaculate. Okay, yeah, that's like the grossest level of edging, meaning the most surface level of edging. But I take it further. There's more subtle ways. Playing with girls, trying to get a hit of attention, trying to get them to validate me, I used to spend all day and night just trying to get female attraction, when I was in Asia, Brazil, and everything. And that really cranks up the dopamine level, which can really set off this anxiety and insomnia. So what to do about this anxiety, insomnia? Let's assume that you've checked yourself. You're not doing PMO. You're checking yourself with the edging, and you just have a lot of anxiety and insomnia. You got to know, man, it takes time to undo this process. Dopamine addiction is like the strongest addiction, and nobody hardly talks about it. You'll get some doctor report, like they give some technical explanation how the brain works, but it's like, where are the people that had it? Where's the real dopamine addicts that were really addicted to their own drug, and now they've stopped doing it and have transcended it? I mean, don't you want to talk to them? I want to talk to them. I don't want to hear a doctor explain to me. They don't have no experience. Like what? You're just repeating something you learned when you're in school. It's like, where's the real life experience at? And there's not a lot. Not right now, at this time and age. You got to bear it. You got to bear it. You do the best you can. If you only sleep a few hours, okay. Something inside has to trust that you're gonna see this through, and that you're gonna come into a semblance of balance. Now, if you can see this on my True Health channel about diet. If we have a clean diet, if we're living a life that's not so stimulating, that's gonna help this process. It's going to accelerate this whole detox process that we're going through. And the consequences of the detox that we're talking about right now is anxiety and insomnia. It's like we got to pay some tax for these addictions. Like there's some karmic thing we got to, like we got to suffer that a little bit. So you have to know that. and you go through it and you use good lifestyle habits and diet and good company to help accelerate this detox process that you're going through. And when you have the tendency to edge, you just do the best you can with it. It's the same thing like when we first started semen retention. We may not be perfect at it, might relapse. Okay, you got that down. Now the edging, you got to work on that. That's more subtle. Same thing. You already know how the process works. It's like, okay, this is hard. This is high level stuff. I got to give myself some slack. At the same time, I'm trying as hard as I can. This is the paradoxical thing I like to say. You try as hard as you can, but you completely accept where you're at if you relapse. Okay? You don't need to add more guilt and shame on top of what you're probably already going to feel. So there's no need to do that. Have this attitude. You're going to die trying. Okay? You're going to die trying to be free of PMO and edging. This is a good attitude. You'll be rewarded later. But if you really have that attitude, you're going to be free. You are. The mind will make it look like it believes too much in the emotion you're feeling in this moment. Like, oh man, this is just so hard. This is impossible. I don't see how I can be free of this. Yeah, of course the mind can't see. It doesn't matter. Say, okay, I can't see it. Later you're going to see it because you're going to be it. So don't worry about it. Wet dreams can start to increase too at 6 months. Why? Because like I said, you've conquered it on physical level. Now it's working you on subconscious level. And the way it works on subconscious level primarily is through wet dreams and edging. That's why I say at 6 months, you may have more wet dreams and your edging tendency might be stronger. Just be aware. You can transcend that though, don't worry. The other thing, your mind, see, complacency can start to play in. Like, hey man, it's been 6 months, I can just dabble. Let me just dabble. Or let me go to a place where a lot of girls hang out and let me soak up this female energy and attraction. I'm not going to lose my semen though. I'm just going to, see, you don't realize you're trying to get a hit. The addict nature is desperately wanting to hit because you've been starving it. So it knows it can't tell you to go watch PMO, so it's gonna come in through the back door and say, man, just go get some of this girl attention. Because if you do that enough, you're gonna have to release at some point because the buildup's too strong. That lust is activating that sexual energy, making it go down, and then at some point it's gonna combust somehow. So you do the best you can do. At 90 days and also 6 months, more at 90 days. I forgot to touch on this thing. In 30 days. Remember, all these symptoms can happen at any time. I'm just giving a general. You can start to leak out some pre-cum. It's prostate fluid. It's not the real ojas, so don't worry about it. Because people get worried. They're like, oh man, I noticed some pre-cum. Should I, did I relapse? And no. When we stop doing this, this energy, it's so used to going down that just a little lustful thought sometimes we can get so aroused. So then what happens when the body gets aroused? It releases pre-cum because it's thinking, well, we're going to have sex and we need to release this for lubrication, and the body does its job. This is natural. It's normal. Nobody can escape that. So you let that play out. That can happen at 90 days in 6 months, even more sometimes at 6 months, because you're not actually releasing. So you can be aroused real easy. Anybody that has 6 months or a year, and if you're not edging on top of that, man, you're ready to go. Your equipment is like fine tuned. You can get an erection from a 80-year-old woman, So that's how much power we have. So just know that that's okay. If some fluid leaks out or something, like, don't sweat it. Let's see if I missed anything. Yeah, see, the psychological, it's like, at 6 months, the mind starts doing psychological warfare on us. And it's good at it. It knows our buttons, it knows our weaknesses, it knows what is going to get us to bite. It knows the thoughts to say, everything. It'll say, yeah, you know, you're kind of like, this is boring, man. Like, all right, I got 6 months. I can dabble. I'm a dabbler. Why not? Why not look at a little something on the internet? You know, because you just, I'm bored, like nothing to do. And I got this now. So you start looking a little bit. And that will you get deeper now into the psychological warfare, the delusion that the mind's doing. And then you look a little more and a little more. And next thing you know, let me just edge a little bit. Let me just stimulate myself. I'm not going to release. And this game goes on and on until finally you release. And the mind it's really good, man, at manipulation. It'll say like, this ain't so bad. Like, I don't even know, like, why am I doing semen retention? It's not even, don't even work. Like, I don't really feel better. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm just bored, and like, where's all the benefits? The mind will work on you like that because you forget. It's like we got this built-in forgetter. You forget how you were when you first started this. A lot of people, when they first start, oh man, this sucks, my life. You just feel drained, you're low level, your vibration's really low. So you take that whole low vibration emotional package of just feelings of hopelessness and despair and just depression, and then at the same time anxiety, and you're just all shot out. See, we forget that. You get some time under your belt, and then it's like we forget that. We'll remember though if we start relapsing. So you got to be aware of that. This complacency of thinking you got it whipped and that you can play a little bit. You get to where there's no need to play, like you don't want to play anymore. I think we're getting into after a year though. I'll talk about that in the next video. Let me know how you like this series. All right, is it helping you? Take care.